Okay, so here is the next map that I made. This took a lot of time after I had last released Stop Off. I just sort of had to take a break, um, and instead of trying to focus on diffuse gameplay, I thought heck, instead of just trying to make like a pretty location that I thought looked interesting, I thought, why not make a hostage map? And why not actually try to focus on the gameplay a little bit? Like, do some real thinking of stuff. Like, go write like an essay about what makes decent gameplay and do some studying, play lots of matches, ask people, and do a lot of sketching and on paper, and ultimately I ended up with this map, which I call Office 2. It was my attempt to improve upon the format that Office started in terms of like a map layout design, and it was supposed to be just a very specific location that had already been done in maps before. I think in a previous issue with a lot of my maps is that I was trying to make locations that hadn't had assets made for them yet. So, uh, with trying to make a sequel to an existing map, I already had tons of assets to use. And I really liked playing on Office, but I didn't like some of the campy aspects of it, and I wanted it to sort of behave more like a traditional three-lane map. So that's what I did with the layout is I have the CTs start here, they go out to mid, and they have a mid fight here with Ts who want to engage them. This isn't maybe super safe, but still, it's something they can fight around. They can have close range battles if they play their cards right and sort of wait out here for people to come in this direction, but then they'll be exposed to this side. There's multiple entrances, so that you got the Ts who enter here. One of the hostage zones is through here. I think that's kind of more T connected. Yeah, it's still roughly on the T side, but it's closer at least to where the hostage is. On you got the T side over here, and a lot of just sort of flexibility through this location. It's not full of amazing cover, but at least it's something, and it blocks sightlines to a point of not being able to cheaply snipe everything. Over here we've got this is a CT who wants to rush the T spawn. Okay, yeah, the T's actually would start here, and I think I put this hostage here at the T spawn location. I actually put this hostage here at this T spawn location. I wanted T's to feel like they could try to hide out and sort of hold this location. I don't think I gave them enough cover to do so appropriately. This is more like a conventional diffuse T spot where maybe there's a lot of connections, but there's not a lot of good cover. Like, you don't really want to be caught fighting here just because it's not super fair. Maybe if I'd put like a box here, that would have made it more fair. Up here you've got the T's as they enter the mid area, and they're going out to this direction, and oh yeah, that's the side location. So this is like where they might fight with some of the T's, the CTs as they come up to the mid area. They could throw down a smoke ahead of time and sort of block out that location so they can just push forward and go through here to the other side and make it more interesting. The first thing I'm noticing about this map is already like the lack of decoration. You know, there's a couple of props to show contextually what something means, but a lot of the focus is stripped away to just be like, here's the geometry, and the geometry matters more than trying to make it believable. I still tried to contextualize whatever the heck this is with implying like it's a shopping mall or something. This is top of mid, where T's, depending on where they spawn, like maybe they spawn and they go either up here to the side of mid or up here to the top of mid, and they can do fights with the CTs here. They can also sort of peek this location. I guess that means T's can see this opening from two locations if they've got the right weapon at their disposal. Yeah, something like that. Going back to over here where the T's are, they can head up here, and instead of going to the top of mid, they can start to defend the main hall. The main hall is probably the most interesting location that I think I've made, because it features a lot of the ideas that I wanted before, which is the concept of like an open passageway, but then there's a side lane that allows you to circumnavigate the main passageway being blocked. I don't know how I feel about these windows that I made, because you can shoot through them. I intended it to make it more, I don't know, realistic, that you can see outside, but this means that people who are stood out here, like if they're trying to fight with somebody through the main hall, which this is actually like a really fun sniping thing to fight between like multiple people. Like I actually play tested this one and bots at the same time. But then there's like this window here where like you might sort of feel caught off guard by stuff. You've got graphs. I think a hostage can spawn in this room. But back here, oh no, sorry, this is where one of the hostages can spawn. This is the one thing I don't agree with so much, is that this is like an area to fight over, but the real like reward is being able to push in a little bit. Like as the T's, you're running over here so that you can hold off the CTs. If they kill you, they can go past and into here to take a hostage if the hostage spawns here, which again is random. But then like the CTs could overpush for a T trying to run into this location to like cover it, and then, you know, these battles in this room are very claustrophobic and not very great. And then they've got to push out of T-spawn and do the whole map all over again. It's, I kind of recognize that hostage maps in their concept have a lot of retracing your steps as a CT, just so that you can like win the objective and not just kind of like win by killing everybody. So this doesn't really fix that. This kind of has a double back kind of thing. You can still kind of make it a loop, but you just elongate the loop by trying to take the shortest path without turning around completely. But if you turn around completely, that's the fastest way out, but you put yourself at risk to all of these other locations, all these other angles, and T's can just kind of sit and wait to watch you from here. It's not amazing. But the main fight, when you first encounter enemies in this hallway, is pretty fun and interesting. I mean, when you're not caught on geometry like this. I even added physics props, so that can happen, and there's a little bit of fun when you throw a grenade and you see some cups pop out. It all feels contextually like it makes sense, but nothing where it feels like I'm pushing the context so hard that it's getting in the way of gameplay. This just feels like a bad decision that I didn't think of an alternative for, so then I've added all this stuff to. So I got a little bit carried away with this room. The other route for T's is that if they head up here, they go through sort of, I don't know, the shopping mall sort of food court type thing, and they go over to this office. And here, this is the other hostage spawn. There's a surrounding room where they can, the T's can fight off CTs as they come through this sort of double side hall corridor. There's a door that's destructible. Yeah, and so then it becomes less effective when shot over time, and CTs can come through here and try to like kill off T's or head in and try to take the hostage, but there's not a whole lot of cover. You end up using the hostage as cover. It's a bit silly in that sense. You got this vent over here, a kitchen. But again, this is all still following the layout that I'd drawn in a way where I felt like everything was kind of connected enough to feel fluid, but not so much that it felt like your decisions of where you went were completely pointless. I still kind of had some gripes with like the way I've added extra pathways that don't do anything, like this versus this. Like it's just a random roll of the dice which one you're gonna catch people at. Or same with, I don't know, even just like over here, if you decide to fight people over here or run over and then try to wait to see if they're gonna come in, it doesn't feel very exciting. It's just kind of like anxiety inducing. You're running a lot in this map just to go and get the hostage. It's still a lot of distance. And of course you can hide over here and wait for people to come through and get them that way, or you can sit back way over here in this corner and wait for somebody to come through, because like this matches up pretty nicely with people's heads. Yeah, and that's not a great angle to try to fight at. Oh yeah, I even included a little like zone here where if you can, maybe you can do some spying? No, I'm pretty sure I intentionally clipped this off so that you can't deliberately go and see if someone's gonna be there. Yeah, that hit there, and that could still bang. You could still maybe do something with that. I'm not sure. I definitely caught myself off guard when playing my own map a couple times, that the hostage rescue zone is there, not back here or something. But, you know, to me, this feels like the first layout where there's something to save by improving upon it and playtesting it. I really like what I've done with a lot of this map, and the theme that I was going for. Does this break? It probably shouldn't break. Lots of little neat things. Lots of little neat fun tricks, like being able to flash out through that location, or like a CT could try to fight here, and then while the T side is retaliating, they could toss out a smoke to support people in mid if they can get the throw right. That doesn't help anybody. Someday I'll get this right. No, I want it to bounce off the bottom. Yeah, that didn't... yeah, so like, I was thinking about ways that the CTs could help each other out by tossing smokes to opposite lanes. Yeah, like that. And then, oh my god, that was cool. And that blocks off that location so they don't have to worry about Ts like pouring in from that location. But again, like the only way that you would see a T is if they're crossing over at this location, and the timing works out that you're never going to catch them off guard unless they go ahead and do a smoke like that to cover up their location and then head over to the next location. But then that forces like a smaller range engagement. So, you know, you still have options. Like you could go for an SMG with a smoke grenade in that location and then hide over and have a fight in the smaller area. I don't think I actually intended for a hostage to be here. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. One last thing I wanted to include is how picking up this hostage here as a CT, you walk over, I don't know, break this location, sorry, you break that vent, walk through to the exit, break another vent, through this construction type sort of storage warehouse depot thing, and back to CT start. Like to me, this feels like an appropriate distance. There's just not a lot of opportunities for Ts to intervene without just camping the CT spawn. But I can definitely tell that with this map, I've kind of taken my foot off the gas a little bit. You know, sometimes there's details like this doesn't matter. Like, why did I add this and this and this and this? But you know, some of it was just me having fun. Like, I wanted to put the physics prop snowman head here. It's no longer working in the current version. And it still feels like something that's subject to change just enough because I've kept it so prototypey and I haven't like doubled down on any concepts. I'm proud of the displacement work I did here because I really did just want to convey the concept of an office park that's got a lot of snow sitting in it that creates interesting, like very small or very slight like height changes in the same way that you might see out of maybe monastery. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this so much more in like a much healthier way compared to any of my previous maps. Compared to any of my previous maps, this just felt like a way healthier expression of self as I was making this map and trying to make something that felt like the gameplay actually mattered and came first, while still feeling kind of recognizable. While still feeling kind of recognizable, as far as the layout is concerned. With that is the end of Office 2. I think I would actually pick this up again if I had the source files, but I'd rather just try my luck on more layouts that are like this, just, you know, following more formulas that work and have been tried and tested, and just trying to make my own spin on something that's really basic and foundational. And I would go on to try to do a little bit of that in the next few maps.